Okay, so what if I told you that there's a hidden code that pretty much dictates how you respond to everything in your life? A personal operating system written years ago that's still running the show today. Well, in this explainer, we're going to uncover that code.
I mean, think about it for a second. Have you ever wondered why you react so differently from your friends or family in the exact same situation? For some people, standing in front of a huge crowd is an absolute thrill. But for you, maybe the very thought makes you want to run for the hills. How does that work? How is it that one person's greatest pleasure is another's worst nightmare?
Well, the answer, and this might surprise you, isn't just about your personality type or something that happened last week. The source material for this explainer suggests that the real clues are actually locked away in your mind, hidden in the stories and feelings from your earliest childhood memories.
So, let's start unpacking this hidden code, shall we? The first big concept we need to get our heads around is what the source material calls our hidden operating system.
The term for this is private logic. It comes from a psychologist named Alfred Adler, and it's basically your unique, personal, and, let's be honest, totally subjective interpretation of the world. It's the lens you see everything through, yourself, other people, life itself, and it was formed way, way back in your earliest years.
So, what's your private logic? A really great way to get a peek at it is to ask yourself this question. If your life was a story, what would the moral be at the end? Seriously, how you answer that reveals the core programming of your personal operating system.
Now, I love the analogy on this slide. It says your private logic is like the grain in a piece of wood. You can work with it, you can shape it, sand it down, stain it, make it look beautiful, but no matter what you do, you can't fundamentally change the direction of that grain. It's just part of your essential nature.
And this really shows how our core nature isn't really good or bad. It's all about how we express it. So someone who loves a spotlight can use that grain in a positive way, maybe becoming a great teacher or an entertainer, or they can use that exact same love for the spotlight in a negative way just to be a troublemaker and get a reaction. Same grain, totally different outcomes.
All right, so if private logic is our internal code, how does that actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Well, that brings us to the next key idea, our personal lifestyle. And let's be clear, in this context, lifestyle has absolutely nothing to do with how much money you make or the car you drive. Nope, it's the consistent pattern of your behavior. It's how you tend to respond to people, the automatic assumptions you make, and the stuff that triggers your emotions. It's the outward expression of your inner private logic.
Okay, so here's the crucial question that gets to the heart of it all. Your lifestyle is basically built around your answer to this sentence. I feel that I matter in life when. When what? When I'm in control? When I'm helping people? When I'm the center of attention? Your answer right there reveals the core motivation driving your whole lifestyle.
And believe it or not, things like your birth order can have a huge influence on your answer to that question. You can see from this table, which is from the source material, that firstborns often have memories about being responsible or maybe breaking the rules, which can lead to a feeling that they only matter when they're in control. A lastborn, on the other hand, might remember always being the center of attention. These themes, they just keep popping up in our earliest memories, and they shape what we unconsciously believe we have to do to feel important. But here's the catch. While our private logic helps us make sense of the world, it can also, work against us. It can create these really powerful, self-limiting beliefs. And the biggest lie of all is a conditional one. It's the story we tell ourselves that our value as a human being isn't a given, that it actually depends on us successfully living out our lifestyle. It's this belief that we only matter if we meet certain conditions. So, for example, a firstborn or an only child might really internalize this lie. Their entire sense of self-worth gets tied up in being in charge, being right, and always coming out on top. If they aren't winning, they can feel like they just don't matter at all.
Or what about a middle child? For them, the lie might sound more like this. Their value is all wrapped up in being the peacemaker and making sure everyone is happy and getting along. So any kind of conflict can feel like a deep personal failure.
And for the baby of the family, the lie is often that their significance comes from being noticed, from charming people, and from getting what they want. So if that spotlight moves away from them, their sense of worth can just, poof, vanish right along with it.
What's so fascinating here is that every single one of these lifestyles has a strength and a potential weakness, a light side and a shadow side. Take the controller, for instance. Their strength is taking charge, getting stuff done. Awesome. But the weakness is that they can easily steamroll people. Or look at the pleaser. They are incredibly considerate of others, which is a wonderful strength, but they often completely neglect their own needs. The lie we believe makes us double down on the strength because we think that's where our value is, and we end up totally ignoring the cost of that weakness. So, the big question is, can we do anything about this? Can we challenge these lies? Can we rewrite the story? Well, the source material says yes, absolutely, and it gives us a simple toolkit to help us do it.
The whole process is called truth therapy, and it's not about trying to get a new personality. It's about finding a more truthful, more balanced perspective on the one you've already got.
And it breaks down into 3 simple steps. Just think of them as the ABCs. A is for accept. You have to accept that your memories are just one version of the story, probably skewed by your private logic. B is for believe. Believe the truth by actively going out and seeking other people's perspectives to get a more complete picture. And C is for change your behavior based on this new, more balanced truth.
That believe step is so important. So how do you find the truth? You talk to people. Ask your brother what he remembers about that family trip. Check in with a trusted friend who isn't afraid to tell you, gently, when your perspective might be a little off. And you've got to remember, this is all about baby steps. Small changes really do add up over time.
So here's the bottom line. Action is everything. Understanding your past is incredibly powerful, but if you don't do something with that new knowledge, you're just going to stay stuck. The whole point is to use these insights to make different choices right here in the present.
And this quote from Louis B. Smeds just hits the nail on the head. Forgiving what we cannot forget creates a new way to remember. See, it's not about erasing the past. You can't do that. It's about changing your relationship with it, transforming the memory of what was into a real source of hope for what can be.
So the real takeaway here is this. Your past doesn't write your future. It just gives you the first draft. You're the one holding the pen now. Which brings us to this very moment. Right now, you are actively creating the memories that will shape your future self. So the question I want to leave you with is, knowing what you know now, what kind of memory will you choose to create today?